me, O Lord, and I will be healed. Save me, and I will be saved. Heal me, O Lord, and I will be healed. For you are the one I praise. You are the one I praise. Sing it with me. Heal me, O Lord, and I will be healed. Save me, and I will be saved. Oh, heal me, O Lord, and I will be healed. For you are the one I praise. You are the one I praise. Jeremiah 17:14 says, heal me, O Lord, and I will be healed. Save me, and I will be saved. For you are my praise. Nobody would doubt if Jesus touched you at this moment that you would be healed. You know, the same power is inherent in God's word. When his word touches you, it brings healing. His word will not return void, but it will accomplish the purpose for which it's sent. He sent his word and healed us. Let's sing it back to him and let his healing come as we sing it. Heal me, Lord. Heal me, O Lord, and I will be healed. Save me, and I will be saved. Oh, heal me, O Lord, and I will be healed. For you are the one I praise. You are the one I praise. You are the one I praise.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Stronger Immunity, Healthier Community Health webinar. I am Anais Charles, and this is my co-host,
Sunisa Simon. It is good to be here again this week, and we are your weekly hosts for this online webinar. Now, as you know, the focus of this webinar is to have healthier and stronger communities. This is why at every single webinar, we will be giving you tips and good information about how to maintain a healthy lifestyle.
Indeed.
Before we go on, we will say a word of prayer. Anais?
Sure. Most kind of Heavenly Father, thank you once again for this new day, for this new week. We ask, Lord, as we come together to learn of how to care for our bodies, we ask that the Holy Spirit will be here, that he will be with the presenter, and that all may learn, that our questions may be answered. I pray it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Now, everyone has one thing in common, and that is food. You can go anywhere in the world and you will find a man, a woman, and a child chewing on something for their sustenance. Now, we like foods that are good and tasty like Chefette, Burger King, KFC. So finger licking good. My belly just want to burst with all that flavor. And then a glass of cold Mobby. Don't you agree, Sunisis?
Mercy. I don't think that that is actually good for you, Anais. Maybe you should pay some special attention to what you are actually placing in your body. Nutrients and minerals are needed for the body, and I don't think that fast food might be the best place to get those. By the way, do you know what foods are, what good foods really are, and what benefits they give your body?
Well, I'm not a nutritionist, but I can tell you I just drink banana and other fruit flavored bustards. So at least I just get some kind of fruit in my day. But I'm beginning to think you mean literal foods like apples and broccoli and cauliflower and carrots and sweet potato. Uh, is that what you mean?
That's exactly what I mean. I meant actual foods, not buster flavors. No, and this is actually exactly what this evening's webinar is going to focus on. All the info you need to choose your next meals wisely. And we will be having Dr. Cheryl Rock present to us on the topic of diet and the immune system. Now,
Nice.
Dr. Cheryl Rock has served as an associate professor of food science at California State University, Long Beach, since 2014. After completing her associate's degree in biology and chemistry at the Barbados Community College, she received her bachelor's degree in food science and technology with a minor in chemistry from Alabama Agricultural and Mechanical University. In 2007, she earned her master's degree at the same university, specializing in nutritional biochemistry and carcinogenesis. In 2012, she obtained her PhD from the University of Florida, where she specialized in food engineering and processing, primarily power ultrasound and pulsed ultraviolet light technologies. Her research experiences and interests include dietary intervention in reducing and preventing non-communicable diseases such as cancer, type 2 diabetes, and cardiovascular diseases.
Oh, wow. Now, Dr. Rock has served as a judge in the Institute of Food Technologists Disney Student Product Development Competition in Chicago and facilitates a short-term study abroad course in Barbados each year, where over 35 CSU LB students join her to engage in some of the cultural activities.
It's a horrible thing to say. And then it says that Catholics have difficult.
Okay, so Dr. Roy is also a violinist and loves the Lord. That's awesome. She's talented as well.
That's right. Now, after her presentation, we will be having a Q&A segment. So if you have your questions, we're encouraging you to put them in the group chat, put them in the chat so that after Dr. Cheryl has given her presentation, she can answer them in the time she has left. Dr. Rock, your audience awaits you.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for inviting me to your program. It's definitely an honor, and thank you for that kind introduction. And I really enjoy presenting for Moriah Church. I've done a number of presentations, so many of the audience might know me already. But if you did not, the two hosts did a wonderful job of introducing all my background within a decade of 10 years of my studies. And so today I was invited to talk to you about a hot topic about stronger immunity and healthier community. And I hope that you really enjoy what I have planned for you this evening. And I will be sharing my screen. All right, so just to give you a brief overview of what I will be presenting today, I will focus on immune health, and then I will talk about how your immunity is really governed by your intestines, your gut, and then I will move on to the consequences of imbalances that occur in your gut health, and then foods that are rich in prebiotics and probiotics. So we are going to learn some definitions of some technical term that relates to gut health. And then I'll have a brief demo of what you can do at home to ensure stronger immunity, which translate to you having a healthier community in Barbados and also in your gut of bacteria. And then you will have a question and answer session as the host mentioned before. All right, so before I get started, I would like to ask an open-ended question about what does stronger immunity and a healthier community means for you. So this is just an open-ended question for anyone to answer.
Would that mean less coronavirus?
Okay, I'm taking notes. Yes, less coronavirus.
When I hear that.
Okay, I got that down. Less coronavirus. What else?
To me, it means healthier lifestyles.
Healthier lifestyle. Keep it coming. I can take 2 more suggestions. What does stronger immunity mean for you and healthier community means for you?
How about no sick children?
No sick children, okay. And last one. One more.
The ability for the community to fight many of the infections that they may be presented with.
Okay, so you want a community to fight many of the infections that they might be exposed to?
Yes.
Very good. So all of your answers were warranted. They're very valid because you know, the whole buzzword of immune health has really skyrocketed due to the current events of COVID-19 pandemic. And this has led to the increased interest of food and supplements that can benefit the immune health and system. And then I did some reading, and the research showed that there was an increase of 670% increase in Google searches for food and immune system between February and March. So you can imagine that number has risen, because the fact of the matter is we are dealing with a global situation where a virus has infiltrated the immune system that is supposed to protect us from, you know, different infections that can cause our demise. So pretty much today's session will be focused on immune health. So when you think of immunity, what comes to mind? When you think of the word immune or immunity, what comes to mind? So you mentioned less coronavirus, healthier lifestyle, no sick children, and the fact that the larger community will be more sturdy against these different diseases, okay? So pretty much our body has a system in place that really helps with how we will counteract these diseases. And, you know, surprisingly, our immune system is actually 70% to 80% that are located in our intestines. So if we don't take care of your intestines, then aspects of your immune health will be severely diminished, okay? So I want to show a short video of how our gut helps train our bodies and our immune system to recognize pathogens. Pathogens are pretty much small microorganisms. They're very small, you can't see them. So bacteria, viruses, yeast and mold, they're considered microorganisms. They're very small, you can't see them with your naked eye. And our immune system, we have an innate immune system, which would counteract diseases immediately. Infections immediately. And then we also have an adapted immune system, which then recognizes that exposure to a particular pathogen, which can include a virus or a bacteria. That way, if it reoccurs again, that you don't get sick. So that's why we get vaccinations into our arm, because the doctor or the medical practitioner is preparing your immune system to recognize that particular pathogen that can wreak havoc in your immune system. So pretty much the coronavirus is very new to us. That's why it's called a novel coronavirus. Our body does not recognize it because we have never been exposed to it before. So that's why many people have died from that particular virus, okay? However, across our lifespan, we have been, our immune system has been adapting to various pathogens and through our gut. And this video, I will show you how that works, okay? So your immune system is pretty much a huge component of your gut or your intestines. When we eat food, that's where your food goes. So your gut plays a very important role in that. Let's go back here.
The human gut can be the scene for devastating conditions such as inflammatory bowel disease, which arises through an improperly controlled immune response. The gut is often the body's first point of contact with microbes. Every mouthful of food is accompanied by a cargo of microorganisms that go on to encounter the mucosa, the innermost layer of the gut. Most microbes are destroyed by the harsh acidic environment in the stomach, but a hardy few make it through to the intestine. The intestinal surface is covered with finger-like protrusions called villi, whose primary function is the absorption of nutrients. However, these structures and the underlying tissues also host the body's largest population of immune cells. Scattered along the intestinal mucosa are dome-like structures called Peyer's patches. These are enriched in lymphoid tissue, making them key sites for coordinating immune responses to pathogens whilst promoting tolerance to harmless microbes and food. The villi contain a network of blood vessels to transport nutrients from food to the rest of the body. Lymphatics from both the Peyer's patches and villi drain into the mesenteric lymph node. Within the villi is a network of loose connective tissue called the lamina propria, and at the base of the villi are the crypts, which host stem cells that replenish the epithelium. Finally, the epithelium, together with its thick overlying mucus, forms an important barrier against microbial invasion. Embedded within the matrix of the Peyer's patch is a mix of immune cells including T and B lymphocytes, macrophages, and dendritic cells. A key function of the Peyer's patch is the sampling of antigens, in this case mostly bacteria and bits of food. To facilitate this, the Peyer's patch has a much thinner mucus layer as well as specialized phagocytic cells called M cells, which can transport material across the epithelial barrier via a process called transcytosis. Finally, dendritic cells are able to extend dendrites between epithelial cells to sample antigens that are then broken down and used for presenting to lymphocytes. Sampling antigens in this way typically results in so-called tolerogenic activation, where the immune system initiates an anti-inflammatory response. With their cargo of antigen, these dendritic cells then traffic to the T cell zones of the Peyer's patch. On encounter with specific T cells, the dendritic cells convert them into an immunomodulatory cell called a regulatory T cell, or Treg. Defects in the function of these cells are associated with inflammatory bowel disease in both animals and humans. These Tregs then migrate to the lamina propria of the villi via the lymphatics. Here, the Tregs secrete a molecule called IL-10, which exerts a suppressive action on immune cells within the lamina propria and upon the epithelial layer itself. IL-10 is therefore critical in maintaining immune quiescence and preventing unnecessary inflammation. However, a breakdown in this process of immune homeostasis results in gut pathology, and when this occurs over a prolonged period and in an uncontrolled manner, it can lead to inflammatory bowel disease. Chemical, mechanical, or pathogen-triggered barrier disruption, coupled with particular genetic susceptibilities, may all combine to set off inflammation. Epithelium coming into contact with bacteria is activated, leading to bacterial influx. Alarm molecules released by the epithelium activate immune cells, and Tregs in the vicinity scale down their IL-10 secretion to enable an immune response to proceed. Dendritic cells are also activated by this environment and start to release key inflammatory molecules such as IL-6, IL-12, and IL-23. Effector T cells also appear on the scene, and these coordinate an escalation of the immune response by secreting their own inflammatory molecules, tumor necrosis factor alpha, interferon gamma, and IL-17. Soon after the effector T cells have arrived, a voracious phagocyte called a neutrophil is recruited. Neutrophils are critical for the clearance of bacteria. One weapon in the neutrophil armory is the ability to undergo a dramatic form of self-destruction called netosis. This leaves behind a jumble of DNA saturated with enzymes called a neutrophil extracellular trap. Although this can effectively destroy bacterial invaders and plug any breaches in the epithelial wall, it also causes collateral damage to tissues. Slowly the tide begins to turn and the bacterial invasion is repulsed. Any remaining neutrophils die off via apoptosis, a non-inflammatory form of cell death, and are cleared by macrophages. Epithelial integrity is restored by replacement of any damaged cells with new ones from the intestinal crypts. Finally, Tregs are recruited once again to calm the immune response. Targeting the molecules involved in gut pathology is leading to effective therapies for inflammatory bowel disease.
All right, wasn't that fascinating? So basically in that video, what I was trying to show you is that you have your intestines. Your intestines are covered in these objects that kind of samples, like when you eat food, what happens, you get bacteria and different pathogens in your gut. And what the immune system is doing is actually training the body to recognize any bad pathogens. However, you saw in the video that if that membrane is not maintained, that it can also cause other inflammatory problems, which can lead to like the irritable bowel syndrome. And pretty much the video also showed that when the stomach was healed again, that the body was able to kind of sample the gut again for more bacteria that can cause you to get sick. So pretty much in summary, that video is just showing you that your gut is actually 70–80% of your immune system, and is actually training in your gut. The immune system is being trained to recognize, those things that can really put you down. And so now we're going to learn why now that having taken care of your bacteria in your gut is important for your immune health. Okay, so we just learned how your gut or your intestine is related to your immune system. Now we will see why healthy bacteria is important for your immune system.
Digestion is a complex process that our bodies carry out using a variety of chemicals. In this video, we're going to focus on the role of bacteria in digestion. Many different types of bacteria are found in the gut. In fact, scientists estimate that the gut contains between 300 and 1,000 different types of bacteria. and the total number of bacteria in one person's gut could be anything between 100 and 1,000 trillion. That's a lot of bacteria. So what are they doing inside our digestive system? The most common and important bacteria is the Lactobacillus species, which lives in our small intestine. When undigested, carbohydrates enter the intestines. Lactobacillus helps digest them. Otherwise, they would be lost from the body and unused. Lactobacillus also helps digest sugars found in dairy products. When lactobacillus bacteria anaerobically respire, they produce lactic acid as a waste product. Although lactic acid in our muscles hurt, lactic acid in our gut is actually very useful because it keeps the pH of our gut acidic, which means pathogen bacteria, so bad bacteria, cannot thrive. This helps protect us from bacterial infections. Lactobacillus also helps prevent too much yeast growth in our guts, which, if it spreads out to the rest of our body, can cause yeast infections. Too many yeast cells can also cause problems with our digestive system. As well as aiding digestion, scientists have discovered that the bacteria in our gut can also influence our immune system, metabolism, and the production of essential biocompounds. There's even research showing that some cardiovascular disease, diabetes, inflammatory bowel disease, and obesity are associated with changes in our gut bacteria. But back to our gut bacteria and digestion. What happens if our doctor prescribes us antibiotics? Antibiotics work by killing bacteria or preventing them from reproducing. Does this harm our digestion and all the other wonderful things that gut bacteria do? Some antibiotics are targeted at specific types of bacteria, and so our doctors will try and target only the nasty pathogenic bacteria. However, often antibiotics will also kill our good digestion bacteria too. But if you're ill and you need the antibiotics, then this is just a side effect that we have to handle. There are a few things we can try and do to help our good bacteria re-establish healthy gut populations. Probiotics are live bacteria and yeasts that are found in some foods. It is thought that eating probiotics can help restore the natural balance of good bacteria in our gut that we lose from taking antibiotics. Only certain types of live bacteria make it through our acidic stomach, and they need to be in very high doses. Prebiotics are essentially food for bacteria. They stimulate certain bacteria populations to multiply and survive in the gut. Probiotics can be found in these foods, amongst many others. So, while our bodies are brilliant at digesting food, it turns out they need a little help from friendly bacteria to get the job done, to catch any undigested food, and to maintain a suitable pH that we stay healthy, amongst many other great things.
If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to...
All right, so we saw that the bacteria in our gut plays a very important role. There's good and bad bacteria. And so the reason why we need good bacteria in our bodies, especially for our gut health, is because it helps to maintain that epithelial barrier you saw in the video before, where you have the immune system sampling for pathogens that can cause us to get sick. So pretty much the helpful bacteria will help really ensure that you maintain a good system. That way you can boost your immune system to prevent illness, okay? So what we eat is what our microbes eat. So we have good bacteria in our gut, but they have to be fed, okay? So we learned that prebiotics are food for these microorganisms. However, if we don't take care of our gut, it can affect our immune system, and it can also cause problems to us by changes in the bacteria can cause problems causing disease such as cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, as well as metabolic syndrome, which is a combination of different types of diseases, okay? And so basically, this is the reason why we have to make sure that our gut is healthy. Because if it's not healthy, the stress that our body goes under from the inflammation that occurs due to the breakdown of that healthy layer in our gut can result in oxidative stress, which can onset the cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and obesity. All right, so consequences of imbalances in gut health and microbiota can result in like the 3 diseases that I told you. Pretty much we have cancer, cardiovascular, and diabetes. with cardiovascular being very prevalent in Barbados, and cancer second, and then diabetes third, okay? So you have the male and female audiences, and then you have death rate per 100,000, okay? So these numbers are per 100,000. These results were received a decade ago. So the World Health Organization posts the information periodically. But as we can see here, regardless of the date of the information, that among the population, that men are really susceptible to these diseases, especially with the cardiovascular disease, all right? And a lot of these are consequences of the imbalances in gut health and microbiota, as well as diet, which relates to diet. Moving on, we will look here at foods that are rich in pre and probiotics, okay? So we learned that probiotics are usually foods or fuel that the probiotic, which is the bacteria, has to feed on, okay? So as I told you before, that your gut contains healthy bacteria, like you mentioned, the lactobacillus bacteria, and in order for them to thrive, they must be fed. And so prebiotics is the actual food of those bacteria, because when you eat them, they're broken down into different sugars that can help them to thrive in your gut, okay? And these here are a few examples of foods that are probiotic in nature, okay? So among our culture in Barbados, we might have some yogurt for during breakfast, or maybe the kefir, which is a liquid form of yogurt. In the US, I consume kombucha, that's fermented tea, and then the sauerkraut is fermented cabbage, and then and kimchi as well, but spiced. And then we have the soybean, tempeh, and miso that are all fermented with the helpful bacteria. So these are a combination of foods that does contain naturally occurring healthy bacteria. And out of all of these, yogurt is my favorite, followed by kefir, and then by kombucha. And of course, all these foods here are very yummy as well. Okay, moving on to the demo lab. So I promised Julian that I would show you all some simple things you can do at home to really help enhance your gut health. And my favorite thing to do is actually to make yogurt from scratch. I'll show you an example of my yogurt machine, which is based on this video because I have the same model. But I wanted to show you how easy it was to take care of your gut health.
Welcome to the Euro Cuisine Kitchen, where delicious food is created with ease. Today I'm going to show you how to make fresh and healthy yogurt using the YMX 650 automatic yogurt maker with digital timer. Are you ready for a fresh start? Let's make some yogurt. All you need are 2 simple ingredients. First ingredient, 2 to 3 ounces of plain yogurt at room temperature, or a 5-gram packet of Euro Cuisine yogurt culture, plus 5 1/4 cups of your favorite milk. That's about 42 ounces. You can use any type of milk, whole, skim, or low fat, pasteurized or raw. You can also use almond milk, soy milk, or even goat's milk. Prepare an ice bath in your kitchen sink. No more than a few inches of cold water and ice cubes. Remove the white caps from the 7 glass jars in your Euro Cuisine yogurt maker. We won't need them until the yogurt is cooked. Pour your milk into a saucepan. Heat the milk. Whisk frequently to avoid charring. When the milk starts to bubble or reaches 180 degrees Fahrenheit, it's ready. Place the saucepan into the ice bath and cool it to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. That's about the same temperature one would feel comfortable feeding this milk to a baby. Remove 1 cup of the milk from the saucepan and pour the rest in a pitcher. Stir in the yogurt or yogurt culture with the 1 cup of the warm milk. Today, I'm using all-natural plain yogurt as my starter. Now, it might seem strange that you need to buy yogurt to make yogurt, but what we're doing is we're introducing good probiotic bacteria to the milk. These bacteria thrive in heat, and that's exactly what this yogurt maker is going to provide. So all you need to do now is take your mixture, pour it in with the warm milk already in your pitcher, and then just give it a stir. Pour the final mixture into the 7 glass jars in equal amounts. Place the open jars into the Euro Cuisine YMX 650 digital yogurt maker. Place the clear lid on the yogurt maker. It's also designed to conveniently store the individual white caps. Cover this with the clear plate. I'm going to cook this batch for 8 hours. Press the left key till you get to the number 8, and then press the right button to start the yogurt maker. I like to cook mine overnight, but sometimes it cooks while I'm at work. Now the unit will shut off automatically when the timer counts to 0. You'll hear multiple beeps. When it's done, remove the clear lids and gently twist the white lids onto each jar. The YMX 650 lids feature a unique freshness date dial. Simply dial the wheel to the date you prepared this batch. Your yogurt will stay fresh for 10 days from today's date. Refrigerate the glass jars. The yogurt will stay fresh for at least 10 days. The YMX 650 has enough glass jars to provide 1 serving every day for a week. My family loves yogurt, so we make a new batch every other night. Now, when the jars have chilled for at least 3 hours, your yogurt is ready to eat. You can enjoy plain yogurt straight out of the jar, or you can add it to your favorite cereal. I like to stir in seasonal fruits and spices. I think it's a great way to add new flavors throughout the year. My kids love to experiment. Creating yogurts really is a great family activity. The Euro Cuisine instruction book includes even more delicious recipes.
All right, so we saw a little demo. I'll show you my yogurt machine in a minute, but I also wanted to show you an example of my favorite gut health foods. So I like to eat my granola, my oats with my yogurt, and I love to have Yakult. Yakult is something that's not popular, and I don't think it's in Barbados, but I don't think I've seen it in Barbados, but it's very popular here in Southern California because the factory is here. And I also eat a lot of nuts, and in the background is like avocado. But these are some examples of my favorite gut food. And I wanted to show you something else here. So this is a picture of me and my students actually visiting the probiotic company called Yakult. I actually go there every year. This year I couldn't go because of COVID. But I like to teach my students about fermentation and probiotics. And so we actually go to the tour and we see the whole manufacturing process. And so I'm going to give you a tour of that process of how the probiotic drink is made. It's very delicious. Oops.
Shirota.
Oh my goodness, I'm sorry.
To make the perfect Yakult, a few elements are crucial. The unique Lactobacillus casei Shirota probiotic strain, very strict quality controls, and of course, nothing artificial. It all starts with pure water mixed with non-fat milk powder that is flash pasteurized. This means that the mixture is heated to a very high temperature using an ultra-heat pasteurizer to kill any unwanted bacteria. Once the solution has cooled, the Lactobacillus casei Shirota probiotic strain is added and left to grow for the required fermentation period. To get the right number of good bacteria into every bottle of Yakult, we hold the temperature constant. After the required period of time, the mixture passes through a homogenizer for consistency. Then natural flavors and the perfect amount of real sugar are added to give Yakult its distinctive and delicious taste. The mixture is stored at a cool temperature prior to packaging. In the final step, we add crystal clear water, then pour the Yakult into its iconic little bottles. It takes less than 1/10 of a second to fill and close a bottle. Amazingly, 40,000 bottles can be filled and packed in just 1 hour. When they're ready, our bottles are distributed from our Southern California factory throughout the United States, so people can enjoy the benefits of Yakult every day. At Yakult,
we continuously strive to realize Dr. Shirota's vision of advancing the science of probiotics.
All right, so I wanted to show you, so this is an example of the Yakult that I usually drink every day. I drink 1 bottle to kind of enhance my gut microflora. And then of course I have my yogurt, a brand called Noosa. I don't know if that's in Barbados, but it's very tasty. Very, very tasty. And I have it with my oats. And at nighttime when I feel a little hungry, I have my peanuts as well. So these are examples of prebiotics. And these are examples of probiotics. And here's an example of my yogurt machine that you saw in the video right here. The same brand as the one in the company. And actually it's like $40 on Amazon, so it's pretty cheap. And you can make a yogurt for every day, 7 jars. And so I usually make my own yogurt too. So that's a fun way of just really engaging in gut health. So that's all I have to offer today. The host of this event told me I had 30 minutes, so I really couldn't get into much detail about anything complicated. I wanted to make it simple, and I wanted to make the presentation relative. And I think now it's time for questions and answers.
Yes, it is. Thank you so much, Dr. Rock, for that informative presentation. We are sorry that you couldn't get everything in, but we're glad for that. Could you do me a favor and take down your shared screen?
Sure.
All right, thank you so much.
Did you all see my products? So I have the Yakult right here. Now that you see my screen, this is the Yakult that I drink.
Mm-hmm. And then you were showing us the machine?
Yeah, so this is my machine right here.
Okay, nice. Oops, careful.
My machine
okay,
right
nice.
Here's the stars. That was snafu, but okay. And here is the brand name of the machine, Okay Cuisine. Here's the
Okay, nice. So if anyone wants to get the machine, that is it. Here Cuisine. All right, then. Thank you so much. So now it is time for our question and answer. If you have a question, you can post it into the chat and we will ask it for you. We have one at the moment. Sanisis, could you read that for me?
Okay, no problem. The question asks, how effective are the pure probiotics you get from the health food store? And they're given an example. For example, one dentist recommended one of my children to take some baby probiotics after taking antibiotics. So I'll repeat the question: how effective are the probiotics you get from the health food stores?
All right, were you able to hear that, Dr. Rock?
Yes, and I can see it on the chat too as well. So
okay, awesome.
Right. So how effective are the prepared probiotics you get from the health food store? That's a very good question to ask, because by law, there's a National Yogurt Association that requires that for the yogurt to be healthy, and for this to be actually healthy when you buy it, it should have 100 million cultures per gram at a time of manufacture. But there's no way you can verify that unless you are the one that is actually making the yogurt at home, because from the time you travel from the store to home, there's a lot of temperature changes, okay? However, when the manufacturers manufacture yogurt, they actually use a particular bacterium that can withstand changes in temperature. So at least you will have those available to you when you get home. But if you leave it out for like maybe 6 hours after purchase, then it won't be as effective. Did I answer your question?
Well, I hope so. It was quite informative. Now we're waiting for some other questions. Guys, if you don't feel comfortable typing it in, we'll allow you to open up your mics and ask your questions directly if you're uncomfortable typing it up in the chat. But we do want to hear the questions from you.
So remember, there's prebiotics and there's probiotics. The probiotics are the bacteria that's in the food, okay? The prebiotics are the fibers that can produce food to those bacteria in your gut, okay? So the question was about probiotics. So prepared probiotics, the most ensured way is just making your, using the machine. Okay, there's another question in the chat for me.
Okay, awesome. All right, so a question goes, in terms of probiotics, how can you determine what to purchase?
Well, that's a very general question. So I showed you a variety of foods that can be probiotic in nature. So I showed you, I showed you the yogurt. I showed you, can I share my screen for 1 second?
Sure.
So I will be able to show the audience
no problem.
The question. Right, so I show you some examples of foods that are probiotic in nature. So people have different preferences. I prefer yogurt as my source of probiotic. I also prefer the Yakult drink that I showed you earlier. But sometimes if I'm not really into the yogurt or I want something non-dairy, I will take some kombucha. And then you can also ferment your cabbage at home too as well. But anything fermented, like pickles or anything fermented, are really, really good in bacteria. So I hope I answered your question. I hope I answered the question of the person who was asking that question about how can you determine what to purchase.
Hopefully we have a couple more that came in. The next question is there any alternative way of making yogurt without the machine?
Yes, there is an alternative way. You can use your oven, but you have to have a really temperature control oven. I would say you have to use glass, and you have to have an oven that can maintain the temperature at 40 degrees Celsius, because the thing is, the bacteria is sensitive to heat. Anything above that can kill the bacteria. So like the lady mentioned, anything that feels like really, really warm that a baby can drink it, the oven has to be that particular temperature. So you can use an oven. It's just that you have to have a thermometer that can actually make sure that the temperature is kept at that particular temperature to make sure the bacteria can grow to produce the yogurt. Otherwise, it will not happen, okay? That's why the yogurt machine is most standard, because the temperature will be more uniform. And I think when I bought this machine, it was about $40 from Amazon. So, I mean, it's really affordable. And I hope I answered your question for Sunesis.
No problem. So then our next question is, can these pre and probiotics help with leaky gut syndrome?
So remember in the video that I showed earlier, if the gut has a protective layer that allows you, that protects your microvilli. These are things that help you to absorb nutrients, okay? So if you don't eat the pro or prebiotics, then the harmful bacteria can take over and then cause your epithelium to become disintegrated. It creates acid that will cause your stomach to get ulcers. So you've heard of ulcers before, okay? Yeah. That can result in leaky gut. So what will happen is that you have to go to the doctor and they will give you an antibiotic regimen to eliminate that unhealthy bacteria that's causing the issues with the lesions in your, ulcers in your stomach. Mm-hmm. And after that happens, when you begin to replenish your body with the healthy bacteria, you should be able to repair your leaky gut syndrome. However, it depends on the severity of the leaky gut syndrome, because sometimes it's too far gone and may require some surgery or something like that, okay? So remember, this should not be You should not wait until that happens. You should be indulging in your yogurts and your healthy fibrous foods like right now. Did I answer your question?
Hopefully. It was a very good answer. I learned. All right, so we have another question. Were you able to hear me?
Yes, I didn't hear what you said, but I can see the question. Was it, are there any habits that Caribbean people practice that damage healthy gut?
Right. Yes,
there absolutely. Every time I come home to Barbados or in the Caribbean in general, I find that there's limited consumption of the green leafy vegetables. Okay, the fibrous green leafy vegetables provide a source of dietary fiber, which serves as food for the bacteria in your gut to thrive. Okay, you really have to indulge in that. And then, you know, eating more of the yogurts and the fermented foods will definitely help you all to maintain a good gut integrity because it's related to your immune system. But you can see that once that is compromised, it's not only your body being exposed to infections from other bacteria, but it also leads to other diseases such as cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and cancers. And so pretty much really changing or modifying the diet to have a high fiber diet that is rich in fruits and vegetables, leafy greens, fibrous greens, not the starchy potato, starchy corn all the time. It has to be a combination of the green leafy vegetables that are high in fiber, celery and stuff like that, that will help the your natural bacteria in your gut to grow more, to protect your stomach from being exposed to pathogenic bacteria that can wear away your epithelium that results in healthy gut, okay, and damaged gut. I hope I answered that person's question.
Thank you so much. So we're going to move to the next question, which is, does detoxifying or taking a laxative remove good or bad or both bacteria? And how can we replace the good after detox?
So pretty much, I would say detoxification, I would caution that you should have that recommended by a medical professional because it depends on what you're detoxifying. But it can have some really bad side effects because like how you have the antibiotics that would, like when you get sick, you have an infection, the doctor want to cure you, they would give you an antibiotic, but the antibiotic doesn't differentiate between good and bad bacteria. It will just eliminate everything, like sterilize your body. So that's why when you go to the doctor, if you're taking antibiotics, a good doctor will tell you to make sure you have plenty of yogurt, make sure you have plenty of probiotics, because what will happen is that for many women who don't do this, they will get a yeast infection because your bodies also contain yeast, and yeast is also a microorganism. And the bacteria and the yeast work together to keep the body in equilibrium. But once that balance is offset, because the bacteria produces a pH which prevents your pathogenic bacteria from harming your body, which also prevents the immune responses that can occur due to flare-ups from a leaky gut. And so pretty much I would say, like, you know, if you're taking a laxative, it should be directed by a medical practitioner. But what I usually do as a laxative is, like, I might drink some prune juice or eat some prunes that are high in fiber. That way you are able to, you know, support your gut in a more healthy fashion, okay? So it depends on how you are detoxing or why you're detoxing, but make sure that whatever you're doing, it should be guided by a medical practitioner or recommended by a dietitian or something like that. But just don't go and doing it on your own without being supervised, okay?
Okay, thank you so much for that. Another question popped up, and this person is asking, can probiotics be added into the regular drinks like teas and milk as a powder?
Yes, so usually what will occur, so you saw on the video with the yogurt maker, the lady had two options to make your yogurt. She had a starter culture in a packet, and then she had a combination of the yogurt that she bought, like plain yogurt, okay? So pretty much you can add probiotics to regular drinks and teas and milk powder, but I think I saw a question asked by Charlene that said, you know, there's some bottled probiotics, and so how do you, maybe it was more like, how do you ensure that they're alive? By law, by manufacturer, those companies are supposed to prove that those cultures are alive, okay? But it depends on the end user, how you treat the bacteria. If you refrigerate them, if you store them in the proper condition that they're supposed to be stored in, because every container will say refrigerate immediately, store in a warm place. So it has user guidelines on how to really take care of these different bacteria, okay? But to answer Shanadu's question, yes, you can add these probiotics to regular drinks like teas and milk as powder. Yes, you can do that. Many companies do that. They add probiotics to even like cereals now. You see it on like nutrition bars and cereals and stuff like that. So so yes, that can be added.
Okay, wonderful. Now I did see a Renee's hand went up. Renee, did you have a question to ask verbally?
Hi, yes. My question was with regard to the question I posed earlier. Yes, Cheryl, I understand the foods that we can get the probiotics from, but I know that you can also purchase them from in the health stores. So I just wanted to know how would you determine in terms of what you should be purchasing? Because you see these various names and you see 100 million and this. So that was really where my question was directed. In terms of how do you know what to purchase?
Right. So by law, you see on the package, it should say, according to National Yogurt Association, that there's supposed to be about 100 million of cultures in the food itself, or the product itself. Okay. But what I usually do when I shop for probiotics or anything probiotics, I usually look for the brand name, because brand is always trusted. Anything generic brand, I don't really trust a lot, because they have a lot of loose rules revolving around how those foods are regulated. So besides seeing that 100 million accreditation by the National Yogurt Association, NYA, you should see that stamp on the actual product itself. I also go based on the actual brand that I trust. Did that answer your question, Renee?
Fair enough. So I say I need to do some more research then. Thank you. Yes, it does.
Okay. Awesome.
Excellent. So make sure you look for National Yogurt Association on the stamp of the product. That's the accreditation body for really proving that the valid amount of microorganisms or bacteria that is supposed to be in there is in there.
Okay, awesome. All right, thank you so much, guys, for your questions. Thank you so much, Dr. Rock, for answering. We learned a lot this evening. So quickly before we go, I just want to promote our week's lesson, and it's all about nutrition, good and required nutrition. So we can learn about well-balanced diet. All of this is in the lesson. It would include nutrients like proteins, carbohydrates, fats, vitamins and minerals, and even has a vegan food pyramid, which gives us serving instructions for that very balanced diet. Now, at the end of the lesson, it gives us some well-needed and spiritual encouragement, because God wants us to be healthy. Now, the lesson will be sent to your individual email addresses, along with a link and a question sheet on Google Sheets. So please answer and send it back to southernhealth.bb@gmail.com. That email address again is southernhealth.bb@gmail.com. Now, tonight was quite an informative session, and we once again thank you so much, Dr. Rock, for giving us that presentation, that demonstration, and allowing us to answer and, tease your brain and get some information tonight. So thank you so much. So guys, as we're about to end our program, we just wanted to remind you that we're going to have another health webinar next week, October the 4th. So make sure you tune in once again at 6 p.m. We're inviting you, we're asking you to invite other persons, bring as many people as you can so we can all learn. Next week's topic will be related to exercise. So we were taught about immunity. Today we learned about our intestines and the core of our immune system. And next week we're going to work that body. So like an actual exercise session, but you understand what I mean. Let's come gain that information so we can all be healthier together with that healthier community, stronger immunity, healthier community. Guys, have a great evening and enjoy your week. Bye.
Goodbye. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.